strong.
Okay, hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So, trying to get back into the whole deck profiles. I got a really good profile for you today. Now, I've had this deck since May, so I've had like 5 months to actually get like to a level I really like it. Today is all about Sir Gwyn, Hero of Ashvale, a knight equipment deck that I really enjoy, because you know me from my multiple rants about equipments. I like equipments. They're pretty good, really strong. So I decided to put down the cat tribal equipment deck and build a knight equipment deck. It's not really tribal. I have like 3 creatures that aren't knights, but they are very good with equipment anyway. So we shall get into the profile. So as always, we have our commander, Sir Gwyn, Hero of Ashvale. The camera is not focusing. Okay, there we go. So, a 6-drop 5/5 with Vigilance and Menace. Its effect is whenever a equipped creature attacks, you draw a card and lose a life. That's mandatory. You have to do that. You can't just say no. And the most important part is knights. Well, equipments you control have equipped knight 0, so the equip cost is free to play when it's free to equip when it targets a knight, which is kind of the whole thing about this deck. Usually all of them go onto Sir Gwyn. That's about it, usually, but we do have some cases where I will put them onto a non-knight, and it's a bit slow. So, we'll put the commander there. So, we'll go on to the creature lineup. Got like 14 creatures in the main deck. Counting my commander, there's now a total of 15 creatures. So, we'll start off with a pure steel paladin. Whenever a equipment enters the battlefield, you draw a card. It's got Metalcraft, so if 3 or more artifacts are on the board, the equip cost is 0. If you see this early game, it's really strong because you can just play equipments and keep drawing. It's great. We have this little knight. Card, pronounce her name. But it's a 3-drop 2/2 with first strike, finish, and lifelink. So you get 3 keywords. You're basically paying a land for keyword, which is pretty good. It also has ores and equipments cost 1 less to cast. So they cost 1 less. When they enter the battlefield, draw a card. Really good, very strong. Also, a bit of lifelink is really good, since that you have to, when you draw a card using this effect, it deals you 1 damage, which is why I need as much lifelink as you possibly need. We have Acclaimed Contender. Now, Acclaimed Contender is only good if there's another knight on board, as I will read. Whenever a Acclaimed Contender enters the battlefield, if you control another knight, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a knight or equipment or legendary artifact card from among them and put them into hand. The rest go to the bottom of your library in a random order. So if Acclaimed Contenders is the only knight on your battlefield, you won't get that effect. But say you have like this or Pure Steel Paladin, then yeah, you will be able to look at top 5. Usually I keep this card in hand just when I can see another knight. If I don't have another knight, it usually just stays in my hand. And we have this little knight. Knight Exemplar. So it's a 2-drop, it's a 3-drop 2/2 with first strike, but the most important part is it gives other knights +1/+1 and indestructible. It doesn't give itself indestructible, which is fine. We can equip it with like hexproof equipment, maybe shrouds, so we can definitely try and keep this on board. So even if a board wipe happens, this will die, but all my other knights will stay on board. Like, also, it had a lot of these knights had a recent reprint. This one had a reprint in one of the Eldraine Commander decks. This had a reprint in the March of Machines Commander deck, the knight one. For next night, it's a Guardian of Faith. Now, Guardian of Faith is only useful if there's a board wipe about to happen, because what happens is, someone does a board wipe, because this has flash, you pay 3, you can flash it in, and say, okay, it's flashed in, this goes off, so I'm going to phase this many knights out. Guardian of Faith will still get destroyed, but at least my other knights will be phased out until my next turn. It does mean all the equipment so kind of come off, but that's fine, because we can easily re-equip them if they cost 0 to equip. And then we have our Cavalier. Now this card might be like pricey. It's like, at the moment of recording, I think it's like in between 20 and 30 on card market anyway. But it gives him and other knights, well, it gives all knights double strike. So it's a 4-drop 2/2 that has double strike, which effectively makes him a 4/4 because he hits twice. He hits twice and he hits first, so yeah, it's really good, especially when I have a really big commander that can not be blocked and it just goes in. It could kill someone with commander damage. So yeah, definitely worth the money. Another thing, this isn't a budget deck. I would not recommend someone new to Magic playing this. I would recommend definitely buying one of the Evergreen Star decks for Commander, because those are amazing. But yeah. And then we have Balin, the Wandering Knight. Balin the Wandering Knight is a 4-drop 3/3 with first strike, but if it has 2 or more equipment attached to it, it has double strike. Which is, you might think, oh, but then I have to equip 2, it'll cost me more mana. No, it won't, it'll only cost you 2 mana, because it's a 1 and a white to attach all equipments to Balin the Wandering Knight. So a really strong card. I used it a lot when I was playing my cat commander deck, the equipment cat, the Zarn, the Revered Bladesmith. So he became really handy because at some point my guys will die, but then I get some of this and they all attach to it and I can just smack, because most likely he now has haste. And then we have this knight. I don't summon this knight as often, but it has the same keywords as the original, because this one came out in Dominaria United. First strike with lifelink, but whenever it enters the battlefield, I may put an equipment card from my hand or graveyard onto the battlefield attached to her. So it's just like 5 mana. Like, most of the time, if I have my commander out, I don't really play this, because I'll just play the equipment, because it's probably cheaper than 5 mana. But it's still a nice card to have if I don't have my commander on board. Okay, now for Armored Skyhunter. Armored Skyhunter is a 4-drop 3/3 with flying. So already it's a knight with flying. We don't have many of them. So when it attacks, you look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may wheel an or an equipment card among them, and that comes onto the battlefield and attached to target creature, while the rest of the cards go to the bottom of your library. So it slowly searches out equipment source, which is fine because we have like 18 equipment in the deck, and plus flying. Flying's really good. And then we have Thrashier's Lancers. In this battlefield, you search for a legendary card at your hand. Pretty simple for 5-drop for first strike. What I could do, what I usually do, is bounce this out, bounce it back in, because with, like, for example, Sword of Path and Home, where it deals damage, blink the guy out, put the guy back, and basically land on board. Because then you have multiple triggers. For the last night, it is a Murderous Rider. I don't really use Murderous Rider as a creature. I usually use it for the swift and instant source, instant adventure. So 2 black and a colorless, destroy a target creature, you lose 2 life. It was fine because if you then cast him again, he has lifelink and he's a 2/3. And when he dies, he goes to the bottom of his library. Okay, now for the non-knights, we have Stoneforged Mystic. Pretty simple. ETBs. By ETB enters the battlefield. It adds equipment from your deck to your hand, and then you can pay 1 and cast tap to put equipment from your hand onto the battlefield. Stone Hero Giant is similar to Stoneforged Mystic, it's just a bit cheaper. Cheaper by it's like £5 compared to Stoneforged Mystic, which is like 20. So it's a 5-drop 4/4 with Vigilance. You may pay 1 and a white to tap him to search your library for an equipment card, put it onto the battlefield, and attach it to a creature you control, and shuffle. So yeah, just a little bit more. For like extra free mana, you get to put a equipment on the board, equipped to creature. Oh, sorry guys. Sorry for the yawning. Once you start, you can't stop. For the last creature, we're running Nihari, Forged in Fury. A really cool card that came out in Master Machine's Aftermath. It's a 6-drop 5/4, but it has affinity for equipments. So this card could only cost me a white and a red. It costs 1 less for each equipment on, well, each equipment I control. Whenever an equipped creature attacks, you exile a top card of your library. If it's you may play that card this turn. You may cast equipment spells without playing the mana cost, so you could just play an equipment for free. It's also really nice when it says you may play the card, because if you get a land, you can still play the land if you haven't got a land, like you didn't play a land this turn. So yeah, 14 really strong knights. I did have a look through the Wild of Eldraine to see if there are any really cool knights, but a lot of them don't do anything with equipments. They mainly do stuff with ore rolls. So I kind of left that because I wanted to. I have a plan for an ore deck. It's still in the works. I really want to finish it, but other stuff is kind of in the way of that at the moment. As we get to the basic artifacts now, we have 1 Soul Ring. Pretty basic. Taps to add 2 cards mana. Chromatic Lantern. Lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. It also taps for any color. We have a Bolas' Citadel. So look at the top card of your library. You may play cards and cast spells on top of your library, and instead of paying mana, you pay with your life. So if the cards are of 1 drop, you pay a life. If the cards are 3 drop, you pay 3 life, and so forth. I never use the tap sack 10 permanents, each opponent loses 10 life. I've never done that in here because I don't have that many permanents really, other than my artifacts and guys. So yeah, it's mainly just to cast cards on top of the library. And for the last basic artifact, we have a Whip of Erebos. Creature I control have a lifelink. That's all I care about. I don't really care for the pay for return a guy from your bin to the battlefield. I don't really do that one. And now for the equipments. On the equipment side, as I said earlier, we are running 18 equipments. We are running Sword of Feast and Famine. Protection from black and from green. Deals damage to a player. That player discards cards and I untap all my lands. Fire and Ice. Protection from blue and from red. Deals damage to a player. Deals damage to a player. Deal 2 damage to any target and you draw a card. Sword of Path and Home. Deals damage to a player. You bounce out a guy you own. Not that you control, a guy that you own. And you then search for a basic land and put it back onto the battlefield, so it also triggers ETBs. The land also comes in untapped, which is great. Sword of Forgotten Frontier, deal protection from red and from green. When it deals damage, you exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may cast them this turn, and you may play an additional land this turn. Sword of Once and Future. Protection from black and from blue. Really, really good. Especially since black and blue are usually the interrupt colors. Deals damage to player, you spell 2, so you look at top cards, you either put them back on top or into your bin. You may cast an instant or sorcery with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. You then exile the card. So if I have a 1-drop card, do I have an example of a 1-drop card? Or a card? Okay, here we go. So if I were to cast, if this is in my bin, I deal damage, I can literally just cast this from my bin, and it gets exiled. This is the reason, this and like another equipment is why I have like quite a lot of instances in this deck. But I only run 5 swords. I think 5 swords is a good number because you're running like half of them. There are 10 swords in the game at the moment. And yeah, these are kind of like the best ones for me anyway. Then we go on to the regular equipment. We have a Shower Spear, +1/+1, trample, lifelink. You may pay 1. Permanent your opponent controls, loses hexproof and is droppable. Hunter Cloak. Vigilance, trample and haste. Sword of Vengeance, +2/+0, has first strike for vigilance, trample and haste. And then Embercleave. It costs 1 less for each attacking creature. That doesn't really matter, mainly because I'm only really attacking with 1 guy, let's be honest. But equipped creature enters the battlefield attached to a creature. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has double strike and trample. You guys can see like each of these. Like, these are my trample cards because we want to make sure that we get these off. We need to make sure that we do damage to our opponent to get these abilities off. Next, we're using Swift Boots. So, Hexproof and Haste. Trailblazer's Boots. Unblockable if they control a non-basic land. Sword of the Animist. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Yeah, when equipped creature declares an attack, you search for a basic land, put on the battlefield tapped. Sun Forger. Sun Forger is another reason why I have so many instances in the deck, because you may pay a white and a red, unattach, search your library for an instant that's red or white, and you may cast it without paying its mana cost. It's really strong, especially since this is a mana ability. You can cast it at instant speed. Like, I'm pretty sure you can. Hammer of Nazan. Even in my cats, I still run the hammer because the hammer is still good. When it or another equipment enters the battlefield, you may attach it to target creature. Target creature also gets +2/+0 and indestructible. Then we have Helm of the Host, because who doesn't like having tokens at the beginning of the combat? And plus, if that creature is legendary, the token is not legendary. And then my Argument Armor. Equipped creature gets +6/6, and whenever it attacks, it destroys a permanent. Yep, any permanent. It could be land, artifact, creature, enchantment, anything. Maul of the Skycleave, which is a free drop equipment that when it enters the battlefield, it attaches to target creature, just like the Embercleave does. And it gives the equipped creature +2/+2 flying and first strike. So again, flying is important because I want to get over guys. For the last equipment, it's Robe of Stars. Equipped creature gets +0/+3, and you may pay 1 and a colorless, and phase out it phase out the equipped creature and everything equipped to that creature. So if someone tries to kill your creature, you just pay 2 and blink it out, or phase out and then comes back in, beginning of your turn. So really strong. Like, to be fair, a lot of these cards might seem expensive, but I mainly got a lot of them from like card market. Card market's great to get like expensive cards because they become slightly cheap. Okay, so next for the instances we have a Alien Tutor. Pretty simple, search for an artifact or enchantment, put on top of your deck. Total Power Chair. Exile target creature, its controller gains life equal to its power. Path of Exile. Exile target creature, its controller puts a basic land from the deck onto the battlefield tapped. Dispatch. It usually taps target creature, but if I have 3 artifacts on board, it instead exiles the creature. Because it also has Metalcraft. Stroke of Midnight. It's the new generous gift. So instead of destroying a permanent, it destroys a non-land permanent, and its controller creates a 1/1 human. Which this has become kind of bad. It's like one of the really good generic cards to come out of Wilds of Eldraine. Surge of Salvation. So you and permanents you control have hexproof, and it prevents damage to be done to your creatures by black and red like sources. So it means if they attack with like a bunch of like Death Touch, like black and red guys, I can just play Surge of Salvation and block. My guys won't die because it has protection from, it prevents all damage from. And then we have this little 1-drop instant that target creature artifact gains hexproof and indestructible, and then I get the scoring one. And then we have a Teferi's Protection, just to phase out my board, just to phase me and my board out, just in case shit hits the fan. Chroma's Will. Now this card's really good because if I have my commander, I get to use both of the abilities. So ability 1, creatures you control gain flying, creature and double strike to the end turn. Effect 2, creatures you control gain lifelink, indestructible, and protection from all colors to the end turn. So still pretty good. So those are the white instances. Now we go into the reds. We have a Thrill of Possibility, additional cost, ditch card, draw 2. We're running red, so of course we're going to be running a Chaos Warp. So yeah, return permanent to its owner's deck. They shuffle, they roll the top card. If it's a permanent, gets put onto the battlefield. The next card is, well, I never cast it for its actual effect. I only cast it for its transmute ability. So transmute is you pay, in this case, a colorless and 2 black. You get to search your deck for a card that has the same mana value as Shred Memory, so 2, add to your hand. You can only even though this is an instant card, you can only cast the transmute as a sorcery. Which is fine because it allows you to search for example, a Stoneforge Mystic, or Terminate, or any other 2-drop card in the deck. And then we go on to a Boar's Charm, which is, I never used to deal 4 damage to target player. I only ever use the permanent you control gain indestructible and target creature gains double strike. Those are the only ones I really do. I've won games using double strike. The Boar's Charm is really good for like 2 mana. It's so good. We would recommend buying one. And then we have a Terminate, destroy target creature, karma generated, and Anguish are making exile target line and permanent, you lose 3 life. So again, small removal, and because of Sword of Once and Future and Sunforger, you can kind of see why I chose these instances, because I can cast them and they impact the game a lot. And then we go on to the sorceries. We have a Steel Shaper's Gift. Search your deck for an equipment, add to your hand. Open the Armory. Search your deck for all equipment, add to your hand. Gwyn Restoration. Return all artifacts and equipment cards from your bin to the battlefield. Then we have a Knight's Whisper. You draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. And then we have a Demir, but again we only cast this card for its transmute cost, so we search our deck for a card that has a mana value of 3, which is good because all the swords are mana value 3. I do actually use a tutor. I use a Diabolik tutor, just because I don't have a spare Demonic Grim or Diabolik Intent. But I do have a gamble. You search your deck for a card, add to your hand, you shuffle your hand, well you then discard a card at random. So if it's like first turn, you play a mountain and play this. Like you can then, you have a higher chance of not discarding the card that you've added. Then we have Reckless Handling. It's like Gambit, but for an extra mana, and it only searches for artifacts. If an artifact is discarded this way though, each opponent loses 2 life. Then we have a Blast. Destroy target artifact you control. Overload, obviously you replace the card with the word target of each, so it destroys each artifact you don't control. For the last sorcery, we run a Ruinous Ultimatum, so it destroys all non-land permanents my opponent controls. So a board wipe that only affects my opponents. A lot of the bigger kind of spells in this deck I'll only cast, say, with a Boa Citadel, because Sunforger and Sword of Once Future can't like use them. Now in this deck, I only want 4 enchantments because I think the deck only needs 4. We have Sinrad's Aid, so I butchered that probably. Ores and equipment spells have flash. When equipment enters the battlefield, you equip it to target creature. Then we have Mantle of the Ancients. Equip creature, well, enchanted creature. When it enters the battlefield, you return all equipments and ores from your bin onto the battlefield attached to the enchanted creature. Then the enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each ore and equipment attached to it. We have a really cool card from Lord of the Rings set called Forge Anew. When it enters the battlefield, you put a equipment from your bin onto the battlefield, and then the middle effect is really good. As long as it's your turn, you may activate equip abilities anytime you cast an instant. You may pay 0 rather than pay the equip cost for the first equipment ability you cast during each turn. So this is nice when I'm trying to equip something to a non-knight, but usually I ignore that because I have Circle Way on the battlefield by then. For the last enchantment, it's a Fighter's Class. So, enters the battlefield at level 1, search for equipment at your hand. Level 2 is the equip abilities cost 2 less. And then the third one, by paying 5 mana, you can choose what blocks your creatures, well, the equipped creature. Okay, so now we get to the lands. The lands are pretty straightforward. So we have a command beacon, a command tower, reflecting pool, path of ancestry, unclaimed territory, secluded courtyard, tournament ground, Norland outpost, ancient den, volatile whispers, and a great furnace. I'm only running 3 artifact lands, mainly just to try and get the mailcraft off a lot easier. And then we have a luxury suite, cliff top retreat, and an isolated chapel. Shattered Sanctum, Sundown Path, Smouldering Marsh. We then have an Inventor's Fair, a Reliquary Tower, and a Rogue's Passage. So these are our non-basic lands that we run. Obviously these are like gives us the color we need. These are effectively basic, but they're artifacts, so they're not basic. If I have two opponents, comes in untapped. A plains or mountain come in untapped. A plains or swamp comes in untapped. Two lands come in tapped. Two lands come in tapped. Two basic lands that comes in tapped. Two lands comes in untapped. Two basic lands comes in untapped. Getting upkeep, you gain a life, and you may pay for tap. Sack this, add an artifact from your deck to your hand. Relinquish tower. No maximum hand size, and make your creature unblockable, pretty much. Now, we won 15 basic lands, so we won 5 plains, 5 mountains, and 5 swamps. Pretty simple, really. I think this is I don't know. I like to have even amount of mana. I think this is a good amount of mana since we have multiple. Since white is mainly our big thing. I do have a lot of like for example, these 4 they tap for a white. The same with all these guys will tap for white. So I do have a lot more white mana in the deck. Like, I will be putting a deck list into the description, well, a link to Architect where you'll find the link where you find this deck. So it will be in the description if you guys want to check out the deck list. So yeah, that's my Sir Gwyn deck profile. As always, if you want to see more videos, because I do plan to release more videos, feel free to like the video and subscribe. And again, I am planning a lot more videos in the future now. I'm trying to get back into the YouTube. I have spent a while just uploading some of my Twitch streams from the forts, being the Tears of the Kingdom playthrough, which at the moment I'm doing the 100% playthrough now while I'm 100% game. If you guys want to check that out live, I'll be streaming on Wednesdays and Saturdays from Wednesdays 7 to 10 and Saturdays from 6 till 9 UK time. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and again I'll be uploading some more deck lists in the next few weeks. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.